Imagine 1805, the American West is a blank page. No maps, no roads, just endless forest, freezing mountains and rivers that bite at your boats. 30 men trudge through this wilderness, lost, hungry and scared. Their only hope, a 17-year-old Shoshone girl. Pregnant, barefoot, carrying a baby on her back. This is Sacagawea, a girl who lost everything, yet saved a nation's future. Sacagawea was born around 1788, in the Shoshone tribe of What S, now Idaho. Her people were the Agadika, the salmon eaters, living off the rivers and mountains, free and strong. But freedom ended at 12. A raiding party from the Hidatsa tribe attacked her village. They kidnapped Sacagawea and other young girls, dragging them hundreds of miles north to a Hidatsa camp in modern North Dakota. She was a prisoner, a stranger, in a land that hated her. Months later, she was sold to Toussaint Charbonneau, a French-Canadian fur trapper. He made her his wife. It was not love. It was ownership, but Sacagawea did not break. She learned the lands, the languages, and the ways of the tribes around her. She turned suffering into knowledge. And that knowledge would soon change everything. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson bought 828,000 square miles of land from France, the Louisiana Purchase. America doubled in size, but no one knew what lay inside this vast new territory. Jefferson needed answers. So he sent two men, Meriwether Lewis, a smart, curious soldier, and William Clark, a tough, loyal explorer. Their mission: find a water route to the Pacific Ocean. Map the land, make peace with native tribes. This was the core of discovery. A band of men walking into the unknown. By 1804, the Corps reached the Hidatsa camp. Lewis and Clark had a problem. They could not speak the languages of the western tribes. They needed a translator. Charbonneau could speak Shoshone and French, so they hired him. But they made one non-negotiable demand. His wife, Sacagawea, must come too. They knew a woman, especially a pregnant woman, with a baby, was a peace sign. Native tribes would never attack a group with a woman and child. They would see the Corps as travelers, not warriors. Sacagawea was their shield. In February 1805, Sacagawea gave birth to a son, Jean-Baptiste. Clark nicknamed him Pomplito Chief. Just weeks later, she strapped the baby to a wooden board on her back, and the expedition set off. She was 17, a mother, a guide. A prisoner once more, but this time she held the power. The journey was hell. The Missouri River raged, smashing their boats against rocks. Food ran low. They ate dried meat, berries, even candle wax to survive. The cold bit to the bone, and the mountains loomed like giants, impossible to climb. But Sacagawea was unshaken. She knew this land, she pointed out. Edible roots and berries the men would have missed. She found clean water in the driest deserts. She turned the wilderness from an enemy into a friend. Then came the accident. A boat tipped in the rushing river. All their supplies, maps, journals, scientific notes, medicine, spilled into the water. The men panicked. These papers were Jefferson's most prized treasure. Without them, the expedition was a failure. But Sacagawea did not panic. She dived into the freezing river, grabbing the papers and supplies, one by one, holding them above her head as the current pulled at her. She saved every single document. Clark wrote in his journal that day, "This woman is worth her weight in gold." As they moved west, they met tribe after tribe. Every time Sacagawea stepped forward, she spoke their language. She smiled, she held Pomp close. The tribes lowered their spears. They saw not invaders, but a family. They traded food and horses. They shared stories of the land. Sacagawea was not just a translator, she was a bridge. A bridge between two worlds that had never met. By late 1805, the Corps reached the Rocky Mountains. They were out of food, out of hope. They needed horses to cross the peaks, but the nearest Shoshone tribe was known to fight strangers. Lewis and Clark feared bloodshed. But Sacagawea recognized the land. This was her home, her people were here. When they found the Shoshone's camp, the warriors raised their bows. Sacagawea walked forward, eyes unafraid. And then she saw him, the Shoshone chief, Sacagawea. Her brother, the brother she had not seen in 5 years since the Hidatsa raid. She ran to him crying, and they embraced. The warriors lowered their bows. The brother and sister had reunited, and the Corps was saved. Sacagawea gave the expedition 29 horses and a guide to cross the mountains. He fed them, he sheltered them. All because of Sacagawea. Without her, the Corps would have died in the Rockies. They would have never reached the Pacific. In November 1805, after months of struggle, they saw it, the Great Blue Ocean. The Pacific, they had made it. Sacagawea stood on the shore, pump in her arms, and looked out at the water. She was the first native woman to see the Pacific with white men. She was the reason they were there. The journey home was no easier. But Sacagawea kept going. She even traded her most precious possession, a beaded belt, for a rare fur robe, to give to President Jefferson as a gift. She thought of the expedition, not herself. In September 1806, the Corps returned to St. Louis. 2.5 years after they left, they were home. They had mapped the West. They had found new plants and animals. They had made peace with dozens of tribes. And they owed it all to a 19-year-old Shoshone woman who had lost everything, yet gave everything. What happened to Sacagawea after the expedition? History is split. Some records say she died in 1812 at just 24, from a fever, leaving Pump in Clark's care. Clark raised him as his own. Other Shoshone oral history says she returned to her tribe, lived a long life, and died in 1884 at 96. No one knows for sure. But her legacy is not in her death. It is in her life. Sacagawea never asked for fame. She never asked for thanks. She was just a woman who survived. A woman who used her strength and her heart to guide a group of men through the dark. And in doing so, she helped build America. Today, her face is on the U.S. $1 gold coin, the only Native American woman on U.S. currency. Statues of her stand across the country holding Pump looking west. She is a symbol of courage, of hope, of what it means to be strong when the world is against you. She was a girl who was kidnapped. A wife who was owned. A mother who walked 1,000 miles with a baby on her back. But she was never just a girl. Never just a wife, never just a mother. She was Sacagawea, the soul of the Corps of Discovery. The hero who saved America's West. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel.